meeting to order for tonight. And we'll start with the Aboriginal acknowledgement. We'd like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Ktunaxa, Syilx, and the Sinixt peoples, and is home to the Métis and many diverse Aboriginal persons. We honor their connection to the land and rivers and respect the importance of the environment to our strength as a community. So going on to the consent agenda. If there's any comments, questions, changes.
Yeah, so I was, Christine and I were speaking earlier today, and just about Eleanor's letter, the correspondence. Do we want to pull that out and approve the consent agenda and then talk about that, or do we want to talk about that?
I think you can make a recommendation at the time when we turn to that item.
Okay, isn't it not part of the consent agenda?
Yes, it is
Okay.
actually. So you might want to put it separate.
Yes, I'd like to pull that out
Yeah,
to talk about after.
All right. Would you like to make a motion?
I would like to move that the letter about the EDI advisory committee be pulled out of the consent agenda. Thank you. That was hard.
Right. Second. Okay. With that change, any other comments, questions? Okay. Can someone move to accept the consent agenda as adjusted? Eric, seconder, Karen? Okay. So minutes of December 10th, 2025 meeting. Any comments or anything from that? I assume people have reviewed that.
Isn't that all part of the consent agenda? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going through kind of the items, so the action list. So anything on that from anyone? No. Correspondence and information.
So that was what
That's what we pulled, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we pulled. And then, okay, and then the other thing was, I wasn't sure if the 2E, the EDI December 4th, 2025 meeting minutes was connected with the correspondence and information, if that's together.
I would say no.
Oh, okay. You would say it's a separate item? Okay. Okay. So is.
I guess I had one just question about those minutes. So maybe we pull them out, or do I ask it now?
I know based on what you were suggesting, were you suggesting both of those come out?
I mean, I was just suggesting the letter, not the minutes, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a question about the minutes.
Is now the time to ask?
I think so.
Okay, great.
Yep.
I was curious, so it's page 17 in check-ins updates, that the civil forfeiture grant has been applied for cultural safety training. If it's approved, it will be offered to the EDI committee, city council, and police board. Just curious to me if kind of the feeling of this committee is that it's the force itself and the department itself that needs to be culturally sensitive, why they're not included in that group.
Would anyone like to respond to that?
I missed that. I was not at that part of the last meeting.
Did we have a representative at that last meeting?
You did. I'm just trying to find the page that you're referring to.
Yeah.
So it's in our package, it's page 17 at the bottom.
17
Of 45.
On your computer, Jason, it's
Yeah.
the very first page of the minutes.
Oh.
And it's.
Yeah, it's a different number on our.
Yeah, very first
screen,
page of the
sorry.
minutes, and it was, I saw that earlier actually and thought something similar. It's the third last bullet point under check-ins updates.
Do you have a page number?
No, it's just,
Oh.
I just have like clicked on the
I
HTML,
can
so it's the
even
first of
pass
the
it down,
minutes.
That's easy.
If you click on the minutes, it's on the first page of the minutes.
Page 19.
19.
Thank you.
I'm using the HTML, not the PDF.
That's page 19, Jason, if you wanna, okay.
My understanding was it was going to be made available to the members as well.
It's just not reflected.
No, I Charlotte, you were at the meetings. I think that was the intention of it too, was it not?
While you're talking, I'll go pull the grant.
Okay, is there any other questions or comments while Shiloh's looking that up?
Do we want to talk about the other thing while Shallow's looking at that?
As long as there's no other. Okay, all right, let's move on.
Well, so I'm sure everybody saw the letter and the recommendations. I do believe that there's actually, so since I've spoken to Christine today, it is my recollection that there is actually going to be a meeting at the end of this month to discuss this letter and the suggestions, that there's a meeting that's been scheduled specifically for that. So based on what we talked about earlier, I mean, we can discuss it, like if we wanted to pull the letter and refer it to committee. Do we want to do that? Like that would mean we'd have to meet before the 24th or 27th or something. I can't remember.
Who's involved in the meeting? at the
Yeah,
end of the month?
when you say
That's
that,
that's the EDI committee is meeting
Oh,
again,
okay.
because this was also
Okay.
sent. I don't know if this letter was sent to committee. I think it was sent to
The chairs, co-chairs.
the co-chairs. So there's like a meeting at the end of the month specifically to address these concerns. And so I don't know if we should put it to committee before then, or if we should wait until the community, the new committee.
will there be a representative from the department at that meeting that you're referencing?
I'm assuming Jason will be there, and I'm going to attend, but
Right, but not as a representative.
yeah, unless we were discussing, maybe that looks a little bit differently based on the new committee structure that we're talking about, so.
What do other people think in terms of the question?
I just have one, I guess structurally, this is from Eleanor Stacy, who is a member of the committee, but it's not from the committee, right?
That's right.
Okay,
It's a meeting to the committee.
Okay.
and to-
but then sure, I think if she hasn't discussed this with the committee yet, let that conversation happen. Makes sense to me.
Anyone else? Okay, so is there a motion in relation to how we want to deal with this and when?
Well, Christine, you're just like shaking things up, make motions and stuff.
Do we need?
Seriously, I mean, I'm here for it, but
No,
really,
okay,
Yeah.
we'll leave that with that.
Okay,
motion.
yeah.
Okay. But is it reflected in the minutes what the outcome on that is?
Yes.
Shiloh?
report.
Okay,
And I think Inspector Jukes has found.
And going back to the workshop, it will be invitation to the officers as well.
Okay, great,
There's a long list of people that will be potentially invited.
Great.
These officers.
Great.
okay. I'm going back and forth between the attachments and the agenda. Okay. Okay, is there anything else on those items before we move on? No, okay. So then I think people just can acknowledge the resignation from Matt, which was part of the package, just for information. Okay, on to business arising from previous meetings. So the first item is Nelson Police Board committees. And just a very quick update, yeah, as chair, I met with each board member to discuss your interest in which committees. And I don't know, Shiloh, if we want to go down and populate the committees right now. Sure. But I can I can provide the information I have, and then if I've misunderstood anything, people can jump in and correct me. So. Sorry, now I have to find the maybe page numbers.
Probably like
42.
42.
Thank you. Okay, so this is my understanding. Finance is going to be chaired by Eric with Devin as the other board member. Governance will be, for now, chaired by me with Marta as the other director. Hopefully this will shift once we have some additional board members. Human relations or human resources will be chaired by Marta and will also include Eric and myself until again we have a transition plan on that. Community will be chaired by Karen with Devin and Janice as the other members. Technology will be for now just myself. And of course the BCAPB rep is still Director Harris. So thank you everyone for agreeing to those, rules, and I'm looking forward to the work that the committees will be doing this year.
Thanks for meeting with everyone outside of the regular meeting as well. That was really helpful.
Oh, great, thank you. Okay, any sort of other comments or questions though about that before we move on? Okay, so then the next item is the WorkSafe top-up for exempt staff. And so there's a workers' compensation supplement and a recommendation. So I'll read out the wording. Where the Nelson Police exempt staff member is in receipt of WorkSafe BC temporary wage loss benefits for compensable injury, the board will provide a supplemental payment to approximate the Nelson Police exempt staff member's normal net take-home pay based on regular salary and standard deductions. This supplement will be provided for up to 1 year unless otherwise agreed, after which any continued top-up will be deducted from the Nelson Police exempt staff members' accumulated sick leave. The Nelson Police exempt staff member shall remit all WorkSafe BC wage loss payments to the board. This provision applies only while temporary wage loss benefits are paid and ends upon the Nelson Police exempt staff member's return to duty or conversion of the claim to vocational rehabilitation or permanent disability benefits. So there's a recommendation here that the police board accepts the wording for the workers' compensation for NPD exempt staff as shown on the agenda. So I'm going to open that up for discussion.
I had a few questions on this.
Go ahead.
I'm curious about whether there are other supplemental benefits for exempt staff, like short-term disability or sick leave, that would make up that difference. I'm also interested in how this compares to other municipal police board benefits. And if we've gotten any legal advice and could sort of forecast any financial implications.
I can speak to one part of it. We're unique compared to other police departments where we're more operational. So a lot of other police departments, like the management level, aren't out on the road.
Right.
Where in the fall or maybe the spring, I was injured, but luckily I didn't need surgery as a result. But if I had required surgery, I would have been at a loss of pay for the time that I was off.
And there's no like sick time or short-term disability that would have made up that difference?
There is, but because I've been here such a short time, I haven't accumulated much sick leave because I've only been here since January.
Okay. So that could be another solution possibly. Would be,
I thought my understanding when you talked to HR that sick time wasn't available.
You could use your sick time.
I guess
problems
my concern with it is though, just because it's a requirement, because it's a small department that have to go on calls when it gets busy, we're back up, we have to go on operational, which are higher risk complaints a lot of time, and usually the ones that we're gonna go on are the higher risk ones, so the likelihood of injury and the standard for operational police officers for the rest of the department is that, so.
Yeah, I understand and appreciate the rationale. And I mean, it makes sense in terms of the rationale for it. I just want to make sure we understand, do we have other options for meeting this need in terms of like, what if this exempted sick leave benefits that started immediately, for instance, like, can we explore that? And then just what are the other implications? Like, I think that we, agree in principle, but I think we need a little bit of time to understand the implications in detail.
Do you have a recommendation?
So I
or-
guess I would like to just recommend that we have a little bit more time to explore this, like an HR committee, for instance, and maybe talk to the city and understand the benefits package and if there's any flexibility there.
I think we did discuss this at that meeting a couple of meetings ago. I don't think you were there, but there was a bit more discussion about it.
I haven't seen anything reflected in the minutes, like with more contact, so I don't have any more
I think
context.
it would have been 2
So
meetings ago.
the city HR department has written this and done the research for this
And have they gotten any legal advice on this?
that I don't know.
So yeah, I think just a conversation with their department, so to make
So
sure.
what
that-
are your questions you want asked?
So do you want to, so just to clarify, are you recommending or making a motion to refer to the HR committee to
Yeah.
follow up or, okay. Okay. Any other comments or thoughts before we put that to the floor though? I just want to make sure that the discussion,
I thought
Everyone
everyone
can
had agreed
contribute.
to it several meetings ago, and we were just waiting for the wording of what that word was to look like.
I actually am just curious what the concerns are because I don't. Like I am just curious what your concerns are because I don't know.
Well, I think it's worth just looking at for us, to maintain our independence as a police board and not just some subsidiary of the city. I think it's important that we have our own HR expertise understanding this, that there may be other options for meeting this need. And the city hasn't really compared these options for us. So they're saying, here's your solution. And I'm saying, can you help me understand why this is the preferable solution?
so if I can, the way I'm understanding what you're saying is, I mean, this is not so much maybe about like not thinking it's a good thing, but again, maybe for the board being able to understand the underlying reasons and rationale and what's got into making the recommendation. Is that a fair summary? So maybe we just need to be able to either through the motion that's being put forward or through other means of clarification, get that underlying information. We just don't know what happened, I think is what I'm hearing.
So
So
Yeah,
kind
go
of just a
ahead,
little
David.
bit of the like history around this WorkSafe top up. Now, this is new about exempt staff,
Yeah.
but until this most recent contract, there was no WorkSafe top up, and we're the only municipal department at all.
Mm.
And we were the only municipal department in the province that wasn't offering this wage top up. So it's so that the wages, I guess it says it right in the motion, is the wages topped up to what the average net pay would be. And so just what I know so it was always based on if an officer was on an extended WorkSafe claim, then their top up would wipe out their sick bank, and then there would be no top up, so they would be losing salary. And so that was actually negotiated in the last contract, the same wording, the 1 year that we would top up for 1 year. Because one of the issues with agreeing to a top up was that if we agreed to a top up and someone's off for 2 or 3 years on an extended WorkSafe leave, that then we'd be footing the bill for that long.
Yeah.
And the middle ground, I think, was this 1 year.
Yeah.
So that's where this conversation has come from, is that it has been ongoing for a number of years at the board level for the regular staff. And now that now in order to kind of, I think, make that one benefit more comparable for the exam staff.
What are the sick leave entitlements, for example?
We just went through.
Yeah. It's 1.25 days per month. They all seem to vary, and I'm not exactly sure why, but that's kind of the standard for police officer exempt staff. It's 1.25.
And when this discussion came up a couple months ago, there was a bit of urgency to it. So I worry about pushing it another month along, just knowing that, you know, you were injured and are feeling a bit, you know, you don't want something to happen next week while we push this off for another month.
Yes, I was going to kind of ask to address that, and I understand your questions, but I also understand the risks, and, you know, maybe I don't ask the inspector to leave the office in the meantime, which isn't good either.
I mean,
So
that's what- or
can
is
we
there-
consider agreeing to make it retro to January 1st once the decision's made? Because I don't think it's fair in the meantime if somebody gets hurt and then a month later we say, okay, we agree to this
Starting
plan, but
now.
it's going forward. So
I mean, that being said, we can also, as the board, make a decision on a case by case basis, right? So if that's something that does in fact come up, we could actually make that decision as a board.
Right.
If this ends up needing to go back after this conversation,
Yeah.
right? So like if that were to happen,
Can
We
I
could.
just ask a clarifying question? Is there a continuing urgency at this point in time? Like, is there a
if there's a
requirement?
hold up alarm at the bank tomorrow, we have to go to it. So
No, I understand that, but is there anticipation of a current claim for
No,
this?
no.
Okay,
I mean, I think the retro to Jan 1 is a reasonable request, and I appreciate just having a bit of time to understand the implications and chat with the city and set a precedent that we kind of make our own HR policies and don't just defer to the city.
okay, is there any other comment or,
Quick
yeah, go
comment.
ahead, Eric.
Anything above 1 year, it says unless agreed. I assume that means agreed by the board. Because it means a
Fine.
different context for the,
I agree.
yeah.
I don't know because I was not involved in putting this together, so I don't know if there's anybody who can speak to what that means.
I would have to look at it, but my understanding was even in CBA, it was the board, that it was an agreement with the board to extend it past a year. I don't think I had the authority.
I thought it was you.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of
We
opportunity for
went from the board
clarification.
saying, like, it's not really our, I think, I go back to you. So that's what I was like, oh, if this case could be you.
Except that we're
Well, it can't
the
be.
chiefs.
Yeah.
It can't be. It would be us.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant. Yeah. Yeah, it just popped up. Just wording. But yeah.
No, it's important that we understand as a board what we're agreeing to or what the implications are. So, yeah, thank you.
What I can say from a negotiation standpoint, our lawyer on the board side reviewed this for the members side.
So, yeah, the wording is kind of, but we talking about them, but applying it in the situation.
And so the agreement in that case would have been between the board and the members. And so just as standalone language, I do think it's worth clarifying who the agreement is between here.
Okay, any other comments or questions before I put the motion to the board? Okay. So I understand that the motion is to put this wording or the issue to the HR committee to ask questions and come back to the board at the next meeting with a recommendation based on information that is either clarified or with some amendments as determined. In the event that there's an immediate issue, that the one-off issue could be brought forward to the board. Otherwise, the intention is to make this retroactive to Jan 1, assuming, all the questions get answered accordingly. A bit of a long.
Catch that.
Sorry, we could break it down, but I think that's the general summary. So those in favor?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone opposed? Carried. Okay, Chief Constable's report.
In relation to the BCA, MCP, and BC ACP meetings, we haven't had any meetings since the last update of the board, but we've had some items come up, but they're, I feel, more suited for in-camera at this point. So I do have some updates, but they'll be in the in-camera portion. In relation to the community safety officer, now our second CSO, Harm Singh, will be transitioning now to more or less the full-time and standalone CSO, as the other CSO, Emily Tavario, is going to be sworn in tomorrow. That's our newest recruit constable, and then she'll be departing right away for JIBC, where she'll be starting training at the beginning of next week. We've also hired, since the last board meeting, another exempt officer, Tommy Blakeney, which you've probably seen on our Facebook page, but comes with a lot of experience, some supervisory experience in the RCMP, which happened in British Columbia. So that's good for us because he knows the systems, and he was away for a few years, but is getting up to speed quickly on that, and has completed all his onboarding. So he's actually been fully operational since the end of December. So it's been good to have another experienced member in place.
That's great.
And plus some other operational developments that the inspector is going to add on to. That's also made it a nice addition to have somebody to fill in for that frontline patrol constable duties. In regards to the strategic plan, the chair will probably elaborate some on this, but we did have a meeting at the beginning of the week. So we've come up with, I think, with some good ideas actually on how to take the public facing document, which is a strategic plan, and having a more clear and readable version for our quarterly updates, as far as where the goals and what's in progress, and how we're moving things forward on that. So fortunately, because we just had the meeting on Monday, we don't have it ready for tonight per se, but in the in-camera meeting, we do have the working spreadsheet that we had been working on, just for you to have a quick look, so you can kind of see, overall that we're actually moving the needle, I think, pretty quickly on a lot of areas. So I'm pretty happy where things are at. But as I said, we'll get this dashboard public-facing reporting duties that'll start being the regular reporting method at these meetings, and again in the open meeting, so the public can see as well what we're doing.
Just to that end about the quarterly, the trend, Sue mentioned once that downstairs at the library, that she actually I'm not saying that you need to do this every meeting, but that they actually really are into the strategic plan. It is when the librarian reports, it's based on the strategic plan, and anyway, it just might be a really good resource. The library, weird, it might be a really good resource to ask them about how they report on their strategic plan.
Yeah, and we did actually talk about that, and so
Okay.
we're looking at what they're doing and a couple other departments.
Okay.
And then, and again, the quarterly reporting is not set in stone, and if we have some significant updates, we probably won't wait till the end of the quarter reports. And as well, I'm thinking this is something that we're probably going to have on our webpage, or a link to it that, is updated semi-regularly, and then every quarterly meeting, it's, all of the updates are then covered in one meeting and discussion. But again, it's a bit of a living document and fluid. So if there's a reason and there's enough updates to do it monthly, it's not like it's that onerous on us to present what's happened since the last meeting either. So,
Awesome, thank you.
one of the items that's, I think, in my opinion, prevalent on a few areas of the strategic plan is the policy initiative that we now have underway. We have a subject matter expert that's started reviewing our policy, and we're doing this in conjunction with Oak Bay. So they're going through all the operational administrative policies, and we'll probably start churning those out fairly quickly now. He's got access to all of our old policies. We've had a couple of meetings just to discuss sort of the priorities and how we want to do it. One of the first policies, if you want to call it that Oak Bay is implementing with their boards, and I brought it to this meeting. I don't need a decision tonight, but we'll need a decision relatively soon because, as I said, I'm expecting to start getting the policies sent to us. And in the past, it's been fairly inefficient to get new policies reviewed and approved and in place. And I would say we don't have the luxury, given the volume of policies that are going to be coming out, and the fact that a lot of these are outdated as to policing standards that the province has in place. So it falls under, as I said, a couple of items or a couple of pillars within the strategic plan, modernization being one of them. But we've talked about that risk registry, and I would say since I've been here, I've been flagging that as probably one of the top items on our risk registry. And it does come up semi-regularly when we have OPCC investigations and stuff. That's one of the first things they look at is the policy, and the fact that, a lot of them, I would say, are 90% good, but 10% not good. And we're trying to get on top of that. And there's probably some in there that are 90% not good that have been a bit neglected the last 10 years. So anyways, it's a priority. The document that I sent, sorry, there's two of them in your package. And in my records, it's 41 and 45. And then
And ours starts on page 43.
so the 41 of 45 is just kind of a highlight document of, I would say, what are sort of the key pieces within the policy, which then continues on from this document, starts on the next page. So I encourage you to read through the whole thing. It's kind of long to discuss here at the meeting, like it's 5 pages. And it probably, in fairness, it took me 2 reads to kind of digest it. So, I'm just saying that it is going to be a bit of a mouthful to digest, but I think it needs to be because we're covering quite a bit of stuff in there and how the procedural framework is going to go through. So in the past, every policy had to come to the board and there was discussion on it and it was implemented. And I think we can go back to more of that if that's what the board prefers. But to be more efficient this time, we're looking at, I would have the authority, especially when it comes to the operational policies, to implement them fairly quickly. But I will every time give a list to the board as to what policies that I received and which ones I'm looking to approve. But that's with the authority or ability for anyone on the board to request to have a copy of that to review it if they feel that there's something that's a little bit potentially, if you look at number 4 here, the recommendation within the policy is that anything that is likely to generate public interest or debate represents a departure from the goals of the strategic plan, disproportionately impacts a specific community or community group, or may have a significant impact on the budget. And then number 5 is that it's the discretion of the chief constable to determine whether new policies or other lawful orders or revisions to the same meet the criteria to be brought before the board for review or approval. So step 1 of that is when I'm going to look at it, I'm going to look at it through the lens of these 4 things in number 4. And if I think there's something that falls into this category, I'll automatically send that to the board. But again, that doesn't limit anybody on the board and directors from saying, this policy related to such and such, I think there's possibly some concern I have with that, or I want to make sure there's a certain piece covered off. So
Can I just, like, just to clarify for the whole group? This Nelson Police Board policy and procedure, like this says Nelson Police Board, this document outlines policy and procedure framework for the Nelson Police Board. Was this a pre-existing document that we have not like I've never seen this, and as a board member, I'm just
no, this is
Curious.
brand new. And this is how Oak Bay decided they wanted it as a policy for the board.
And
this is a proposed policy
Yes.
for the board. Oak Bay has made one decision, however, we have not made a decision. Is that, so this is a proposal for the board? Is this
Yes.
what you're bringing forward?
This is a policy.
Okay.
I'm asking for the board to approve this policy. So I'm asking you
This
to review
framework.
it.
This framework, yeah, this policy so that we don't have to review every single policy.
Yes. And that I have the ability to start actually implementing them.
I had a,
Oh, sorry, I just one, before I turn it, like, just who wrote this?
Well, it was, I think, a bit of a cooperation between, I had some input in it, the subject matter expert, who's the former chief of Oak Bay, who's the subject matter that's been hired to
That's our
write the
consultant?
policy, yes.
Okay,
Management at Oak Bay and their one of the city lawyers that they had look at it as well.
okay, when you say city lawyer, you mean their lawyer?
Oak Bay's,
Oak Bay.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, sorry. Marta?
yeah, I'm trying to understand just the context for this as well. It says these are the rules per section 28 of the Police Act. So I guess I'm curious if they are just verbatim from the Police Act, in which case this is sort of redundant to the Police Act, or is this kind of an interpretation and extrapolation of rules from the Police Act?
It's a bit of a legal question, but I would say it's kind of an extrapolation because the board has the authority and is supposed to be aware of all the policies and have had the ability to review them and either approve them or say they have concerns or want things changed or however you want to look at it. But the problem is, again, the risk with both departments, and I would say more so our department, is the policy is outdated and needs to be put into place. I think a lot of the policies that, are more crucial to get into place are the operational policies and the investigational steps and requirements, the reporting requirements, and that are often set down by through the Solicitor General's office and policing and PSSG, which is the sort of the policing governance in the province. So I would say a lot of the meat and bones and the operational policy, there's not a lot of leeway. I mean, there's things you can add or add on top of the policy, but you can't go less than the requirements.
That's helpful, and I would say just seeing this yesterday, I appreciate the intention to make it more efficient and really structured. So overall, I appreciate the framework, and I think it's a good direction to go in. I think I could use a bit more time to digest it and just to understand for this framework what is directly from the Police Act versus what's an interpretation. And just to make sure, I wonder if this is an opportunity for the governance committee just to look at this before we approve it, if there's any room for improvements. I hear you saying that there's sort of different categories of policy, that some are more operational and some are higher level. Is that something we want to pull out in this framework, for instance? So I think it's a good start, and that there could be a bit of room to, finesse it, and that it warrants a bit more time.
Yeah, and I know it's kind of short notice, but we're working on this again at the start of this week, so I wanted to get it to you to at least be able to read it and so by the next meeting, we can kind of have
Okay.
hopefully a final product. I think you'll see, I mean, like everything, you could always improve some wording here and there, but I think it does, really still leave the final decision to the board. If they want to look at anything, they can look at anything. And even once, say I approve an operational policy related to missing persons, that can be amended and updated any time. There's no like, oh, sorry, this is locked in for a year now, you can't change it. So, but I think it's more important to have the 10-year-old policy replaced with a current policy that meets all the provincial standards. And that's what the members are required to work under.
Yeah.
And if we want to, over time, go back through some of them and tweak them and add some stuff, we can still do that.
And one more context question. Which, if any, of the police policies are publicly available, like posted on the public website? Because one of the sort of criteria for board involvement is whether it could generate public inclusive debate. And well, is the public even going to see these? It's not going to generate any public debate if the public doesn't see it.
I'm not sure on our website if there are any available, but there are, with a few exceptions or maybe some redacting, the majority of policies would be available if somebody waived them. So we maybe don't post them per se, but they're not protected either.
Section 28, this for people's information, is a very short section that just references that a municipal board is responsible to make rules consistent with this act, the regulation, and the director's standards, respecting standards, guidelines, and policies for the administration of municipal police department, prevention of neglect and abuse by constables, the efficient discharge of duties and functions by the municipal police department and municipal constables. So, so that's a very short section. So, yeah, so this is very much, I would suggest, interpretive based on that. That's FYI. Any other?
I did have a question, and it might be that I just had to catch it in here. So, this speaks to if a new policy doesn't meet one of the criteria under number 4, that you can approve it, or the chief can approve it. And you would, so my understanding is that, say they do 40 policies this month. I don't know. I have no concept of what that actually looks like, but say it's 40 policies and there are only 6 that we have to see at the board level. Like, so there's 34 that we don't see. You provide us with a list of the policies that are
I would provide you with a list of all 40 policies.
Okay.
And then I would provide you with the actual 6 that I think you should probably look at. But
Yeah.
when you go through the other 34, you could say, well, I'd like to see this one and this one as well.
Okay.
So
And then, so I guess what my question is, there's the 6 that we've seen, and of the 34 that we haven't, of course, I'm just making up these numbers. Of the 34 we haven't, if there's one that feels concerning, can we ask to have that pulled out and approved at the board level? Was that, I just want to make sure that that's what we're writing in here. Because, that's my question is if there's something on the list that we don't actually see it, but it's maybe we do want to look at that.
everything will be on the list.
What's that?
Everything will be on the list.
No, I know, but I mean but you'll have given us 6, so I'll be able to tell which of the 34 I haven't seen.
Yes.
But those would be ones that you have approved or will be approving?
Yeah, I'm not going to approve everything that day.
Yeah.
I think the plan is because I'm going to still have to review them. So I'm going to be reviewing them and providing you the list of the ones I reviewed.
Yeah.
And then also included with that will be any I've reviewed that I feel fall into any of those criteria,
Totally.
the actual policy itself.
Okay.
But you will have the list of every one, and if you want to look at any other one, you can do that as well.
And we could ask to have that looked at and approved by the board, I guess is what my question is. If there's something else. Yeah, okay. That was my question. Thank you.
Chief, can you clarify how many policies we are speaking about?
Don't make it up. number.
It's more than 40.
All right, a rough estimate. Hundreds, thousands.
Well, not thousands, but probably between 200 and 300 would be my guess, because like there's lots of sections of policy that I never look at and probably will never look at. So I don't know off the top of my head. It gets broken down into various sections of operational policy and various sections of administrative policy. Well, unless you come across a situation that deals with that administrative policy piece, you never look at it. So
Yeah, but
I'm saying 300, give or take 100, because
to clarify, though, the board is ultimately responsible for policies that they actually have obligations for, as well as understanding the operational policies. And so this is meant to create some framework around how it's approached.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And this is for today information, and you will come back at the next meeting, and we will have time to review and make a proposal to adopt. Is that your intention?
Yes.
Okay.
And as I said, we literally just started working on this week, so I know it's a little rushed, but I don't want this going for 2 or 3 months and the policy's backing up and there's 300 policies not approved by come summertime. But it definitely needs a little bit of time to kind of review it, digest it. From my review of it, I don't see where it hems the board in anywhere on what their either authority or obligations are. You still have the ultimate final say in what you want to see and what you're comfortable letting me review and approve.
So maybe there's a time for a motion to take this, the governance committee, so that we can kind of dive in before February 4th. I'd like to make a motion that this framework be discussed at the governance committee with an anticipated preparation for the February 4th board meeting.
I'll second that.
Evan, any comments, questions on the motion?
I do have a question. Just because this is new, this referring to committees, it's new. So, I just want to talk about how that happens. So this will go now to committee. So that means that before the 4th of February, the governance committee will meet. And then will we see we'll get your recommendations in the board package? Is that kind of how that's going to work? Okay, and then we can discuss further at the next meeting. Thank you.
And I think it's always up to any board member to send any questions or comments directly to the committee chair if they have anything they want considered in advance by the committee.
Totally. No, that's great.
Plus, I would appreciate if there's something that needs clarified or followed up on, if I could have that a little bit of time
Sure.
before, because I can follow up with the SME. And if, depending whether it's something that they have discussed with their lawyer, it gives me a chance to at least have that for the meeting on the 4th.
Okay, those in favor? Okay, opposed? Carried. Okay, Chief? Yeah.
Do you have? I have 2 things. That was the end of my
Oh, okay.
update.
Sorry, can I just ask a question, just in follow up to the discussions going on and from what Devin had asked? Is it possible, once we get into the system, which I appreciate, Christine, Chair, that the work that you've done is, can we make sure that we have posted somewhere or it's circulated to us when these committees are meeting? And I guess my second part of that is, I'm assuming that they wouldn't be exclusionary if a board member wanted to sit in them, right? So I think it's, not that a person's going to go to every meeting, but it could be that as we discuss something, because this is all new, and it could be that maybe really you are a closet governance geek.
I think I just outed myself.
And you know what? And you didn't stick your hand up. No, it's not about you, Devin, but just the fact that now that you've seen something like this, that you just kind of want to be there to hear what the discussion is. So could we make sure that it's obviously the committee members have to be at the committee, but in case anybody else wants to drop in because something had been mentioned in a previous meeting, that then you could kind of hear what the discussion is, because it also then makes it a little bit more timely when you're here. Then you're not asking what might have been a very simple question that you might have been able to ask when the people were meeting, just for like clarity, like what was the language there? What was the definition of that word? So that we're not then doing it here, right?
Yeah, I would say that it's open to all board members to attend any committee meeting and not only just listen, but participate.
Yeah. So-
However you'd like. And Shiloh, I don't know, do we generally keep a calendar of committee meetings? How have we done that in the past?
So in the past, I've sent out just recurrent meetings to each group. So I have it set up for the year in the past. So those will all be redone once the chairs decide what they want to meet.
And is there some link to like a calendar that any board member could we maybe consider how we could make that visible, like some sort of shared calendar or something like that, or?
It's really difficult because you're all on the NPD server to do a shared calendar. I think it's a bit firewall, but I'll check with IT and see.
Okay, or
Because
maybe
it's for read only. It's just that, because of course, I have to say that, in the time that I've been here, I've never known when any of the dates of any of the meetings were.
well, maybe with each month's agenda, we might be able to add in the calendar for the following month, maybe.
Yeah, but if it was read only, I think IT should be able to maybe. I mean, because that's all you're doing, is you're just setting it out as an information item.
So I know that city and NPD, we can't see each other's calendars.
Right.
Sure, I know that.
Devin?
In the read.
Can you, I mean, if you're already sending the calendar invites to the board, the committee members, can you just send out a calendar invite to everybody?
Oh, like copy everyone else? Is that what you're saying?
Well, just, like we get calendar invites for the board meetings. If you're already doing calendar invite, like just adding, like just put everybody, just to the NPD board in the calendar invite, and then you can pick and choose whether or not you come to the meeting because it shows up in your calendar.
That sounds about the easiest to me.
That,
Yeah.
yes, like, then it's
Yeah,
up
'cause then you can just hit
up
delete.
to us to,
Yeah, then you can just hit delete.
right? Yeah, you can hit no, and then it doesn't show up, or you hit
Okay.
maybe, and it's.
Okay, thank you for that
Yeah,
suggestion.
no
Okay.
problem.
Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't mean to make it complicated, but
No. Jason?
Excuse me, last my voice there. Last month I mentioned about the grant we received from the Gun and Gang Violence Action Fund administered through the province. We ran a competition and Constable Lisa Schmidt was a successful candidate, and she started in the position on Monday. So we're implementing what that position is going to be as we speak. So it's so far so good. Yeah. And then a quick victim services and restorative justice update. They were very busy over the last month. On Christmas Day, they attended a sudden death and an intimate partner violence case. And then on New Year's Day, they attended both an intimate partner violence case and a sudden death case. So they've been busy over the holidays. Restorative justice, they held a conference regarding a file, which had a great success. They're also onboarding 3 new restorative justice facilitators, and the committee is sitting down next week to discuss what the training will look like for those 3 facilitators.
Questions for Jason? Devin?
I just want to, I'm actually started working with the Kootenai RJ program on their steering committee. And I know, and I'm sure that, that's probably already the lead knows, I can't remember what her name is right now. What is it?
Mel?
Yes, yeah. That the BC RJBC is offering free training, and they're really looking to standardize practice across the province. So it might be something for her to check out. Yeah, they're looking at doing like regional trainings for facilitators. So.
Any other questions for Jason? Okay, based on where we're at the start of the new year, I'm not aware of any director's reports, but are there any that
we need to approve the report.
oh, yes, oh, sorry. Thank
That's
you
okay.
for keeping me on track. Yes. Yes. The recommendation that the Nelson Police Board receives and accepts the chief constable report as presented. Devin, Karen, seconded. All those in favor? Not opposed? Okay, carried. And then Nelson policy, police policy updates are part of report. Okay, no director's reports. New business or late items. Okay. Based on that, the regular meeting of, well, it says 2025, but today would be adjourned and the next meeting held on February 4th at 2026 at 4:30 p.m. I have someone, Eric, and seconded by Marta. In favor? Okay, opposed? Carried. All right, do people want to break before in camera?
Quick one.
Yeah, okay, 5 minutes.